This is Will Hammer with Freedom Gulch. I'm here with Jeffrey Tucker at International Students for Liberty Conference. Just want to let you know, Jeffrey, you're one of the big influences on me becoming a libertarian, and of course, a lot of other people. So.
Oh, thank you for saying that. So yeah, I was asking you like what in particular influenced you, because we're all looking at the art of persuasion, and we want to know. Like I want to know what is the thing that affected you to become a libertarian?
Well, I was a libertarian for a while, but I was more of a pessimistic kind of guy. I thought that the government was totalitarian. I mean, this definitely has some issues with it.
But it's a fascinating thing to think about it, because most people go through life thinking the world we inherited is the world we're going to have, and they don't think anyway, for or against anything. And then you wake up one day as a libertarian, you become conscious of the existence of the state, and then you're overwhelmed by the number of problems in the world that are caused by this monstrous institution. From war, unnecessary. The police state all around you. The prison system, and then you begin to see the possibilities. How has this monstrous institution killed off so many beautiful things that could otherwise be happening? And it does make you angry, and it does bring within you a kind of a cry for justice. And for a while, that's an enticing thing to entertain. The problem is it's a little bit exhausting. After 2 or 3 years of just like being mad, you're like, my life's sort of angry all the time.
It's very exhausting.
Is there anything else? Right. Is there anything else to libertarianism besides just hating the state? And I think that's where we need to take that next step and come to love liberty. And we do that by developing an affectionate relationship with the voluntary interactions that are all around us. And that's when we get truly inspired, and it's where we get creative. Because if you see and be in awe of the beautiful things liberty has created, then we're in a good position to ask ourselves, what can we do as individuals to make the world more fun? And that's when libertarianism really gets exciting. And that's when it begins to affect our lives.
Right, and that's what I was pessimistic, and the world's, the sky's falling. But then I found you, and it really made me more optimistic about the future with technology, be able to outrun, Leviathan and everything like that. And so it's just, I like your message. I like the more humanitarian and more optimistic approach to it. I think that you attract more people with honey than vinegar.
Probably.
And I imagine that you agree with that.
Well, that's right. And the other thing I also think about the past a lot. I mean, if I had been F.A. Hayek living in Britain in the midst of World War II, or Ludwig von Mises in exile between 1934 and 1940 in Geneva, with the world blowing up around him, these are dark times. We don't even know what darkness feels like, and yet they still fought for liberty. So we live in times of, you and I you're doing this interview, it's going to be broadcast to billions of people, within hours.
Possibly, right?
Or at least conceivably, right? And we have infinite numbers of blogs we can post to, we can reach people all the time. We have infinite access to information, digital age. And so many reasons for us to be optimistic. The reasons that they never had, and yet they persisted with courage to tell what's true. It seems to me as a sort of homage to them, at the very least, that we should use the tools that are around us to muster some element of courage, to push through our times. And I think there's very good reason to do it. The state is not now today what it was 50 years ago. We see a gradual crumbling of the monopoly on communications, on transportation, on money, in area after area. If you take a big picture look at it, Leviathan, as we knew it in the 20th century, is under serious pressure, and it's not sustainable. Why? It's because it's an unsustainable proposition to put humankind in cages. People don't like being unfree. So there's an element of the state that's always a little bit unstable, always threatening to sort of collapse in the face of public opposition. And I think that's the times we're living in today.
So what do you think is the best way to have liberty in our lifetime, the move past the nation state? Do you think political or more agorism or technology like Bitcoin, or do you think just a combination of everything it's
well,
definitely beneficial.
I'm a little bit, and in a few minutes I'm doing this big debate about this very question. I worry about politics. I don't want to say that it's completely useless, because I understand some people who are delighted by it, but it does tend to be a little demoralizing, because people tend to have inflated expectations for it. We're always betrayed by the people we work so hard to elect. The other thing is it takes far too much time, when you could be doing other things. And so I worry about politics. I don't think it's an ideal thing going forward. In any case, I don't believe that if we ever really get an operational liberty in our lifetimes, it's going to come about because somebody from the top gave it to us. I think liberty is something you earn every day through your own efforts.
What about
you ask like, well, how? But it differs for every life, every person.
What about somebody like Ron Paul? Not necessarily what they got accomplished, but how many people they actually brought to the Libertarian.
So I don't think the answer to that is entirely obvious. Ron is a friend, and I think he's a genuine liberal libertarian with real conviction, and he sought to run an educational campaign with him, just to tell people the truth about liberty. But I think a lot of his followers got a very different message, that they really hoped that he was going to gain power, and we're going to take a shortcut to making the world a freer place through just having the right person in office. And I don't think he ever intended to give that message, but a lot of people took that anyway, because politics is very enticing. People are drawn to the idea of a hero at the top who makes everything right for them. And to the extent people got that message from his campaign, I'm not sure. Yes, he did bring a lot of people in, but that's just bringing them in. The next step we have to take, which is deeper education, making the commitment beyond just sharing memes on Facebook, and actually reading and feeling deeper inspiration. I think that's what Ron would want. Ron never wanted to have just a political movement. He wanted to use politics as a kind of a megaphone, But I'm afraid that generation of libertarians that came up through Ron Paul, many of them got the wrong message, and it's not a message Ron wanted to give. I mean, it reminds me of the movie Life of Brian. Right? He kept trying to tell everybody he wasn't the Messiah, right? But his followers didn't know to get that message. So I think the legacy there is mixed, and nowadays you see many of the Ron Paul supporters back then. We're finding out now, a little too late, that many of them were just against the establishment. They weren't actually feeling that sort of love for liberty. And so now you see them gravitating to people like Trump and Sanders, which is very dangerous. Right. These are the bad guys. These are the baddies. All right. So that So I think there is danger. That's all I'm pointing to. There's obvious upsides, but there's a lot of unforeseen downsides to political action.
Now with Bernie and Trump, since you brought that up. They're definitely, they're kind of fascists of different cuts of cloth.
Yeah.
But they are like a populist people, both.
Yeah.
Do you think that people are just tired of the political process, the two-party system, the establishment, and that that this is sort of like them?
That's right. Well, here's the thing: no dictatorship arises out of a perfectly stable political environment. It always comes about after some kind of upheaval where people get grossed out and horrified by discovering the evil of the prevailing order. I mean, it was true with the Tsar in Russia before the Bolshevik Revolution. It was certainly true with the French Revolution. And it was true, coming out of Weimar Germany with the support for Hitler and so on. And even Mussolini arose with amidst the fear of communist revolution and the rise of socialist Democrats, violent, scary people out there. They arrived to promise a new way, And this is the context in which I think we have to understand people like Trump and Sanders. I think it's awesome they're against the political order as it exists. But you know what? We can always do something worse. And I think that both of them in power, if they get their way, would actually bring us something worse than what we have today.
And what about somebody that's not familiar with Jeffrey Tucker? What book of yours would you recommend to somebody? A person that doesn't necessarily identify as libertarian, and then somebody that is libertarian.
It's funny because I now have 6 books. In fact, this morning somebody gave me a book. They said, "Can you autograph your book?" I said, "What book?" And they showed it to me, and I'd never seen this book before. It's a collection of essays I'd never actually seen. It's called "Hack Your Shower Head and 10 Other Ways to Improve Your Home." Yeah, which is funny. I was like, wow, this is an awesome kind of book. All right, I'll sign it. But every author likes a different book than he's known for. I'm known most famously for Bourbon for Breakfast. That's the one that kind of did it for me. It's also, I don't want to say it's my least favorite book, but it's my most immature work. You know, I think my best overall book is a book called Beautiful Anime. But I've given up trying to persuade people to read it instead.
Well, I got all your books, and I actually saw you at the LP National Convention 2 years ago and got you to sign them. So.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
That was a wonderful event. I enjoyed that talk that night. And it's such a big gathering, too. It's a big crowd. By the way, speaking of the LP, and since I've said horrible things about politics, I think, and I know everybody says this every 4 years, but this might be the year for the LP. This might be.
You think with two candidates, really bad candidates?
When you've got Trump versus Hillary Clinton. I mean, really, are we going to enter this space and choose one or the other? I mean, God, that's crazy. So it seems like a beautiful year to say, you know what? I'm going to stick with principle. I'm going to exercise my humanitarian heart. I'm going to long for the best for humanity and just help my vote make a difference. So, Senator Gary Johnson, whomever gets a nomination, deserves my support. And I'm going to make a statement for the long term. So I could see that. And I think I'm in an awesome way. I mean, I don't think voting is immoral. I don't. I know the libertarians who say that. I don't believe that. So if you're going to go out and vote and you get a kick out of it, I don't know why you wouldn't just vote for the LP. This seems like the time to do it.
I mean, it's, government is there no matter what, so you might as well put a little bit,
Yeah. Well, you send a wonderful message. My friend Murray Rothbard was initially skeptical of the existence of the LP, and then he came up and he said, this is a wonderful thing to have an option. And I guess I feel the same way. So and politics isn't my thing. I don't have patience for it. I'd rather sit down and read big books and write articles and stuff like that. But for those people who like it, I think the LP, I'm grateful for the LP that is out there, at least standing for principle and saying there is another way. That's a beautiful thing.
And final question, how did you become a libertarian? And did you transition from like a minarchist to an anarchist, or how did you get to where you are now?
Oh, yeah, I did transition from minarchist to anarchist. I mean, I think I started off as conservative, I think that's normal. You think there are only two options out there, conservatism or liberty, and when I realized that neither of them were quite right, I eventually became libertarian. But how did it come to be? Because I have a lot of interests in music and liturgical structures and theology and history. I have a lot of interest. Why did the passion for human liberty eventually consume me and take me over? I think it really comes down to what the dean of economics said to me at Texas Tech University when I walked into him. I said, I'm thinking about being an economics major. Why should I? He said, listen, economics is wonderful. It's the thing that gives you the interpretive tool to understand how it is that civilizations rise and fall, whether they flourish or die, whether we live long lives or die as infants. And he said, this is to understanding what life looks like. And I was like, that's what I want. Yeah. And so what he said about economics, I would say about human liberty. So of course, you get consumed.
Yeah.
There's infinite facets to the idea of human liberty. And we never get tired of exploring them, and I never did.
That's when I went to college. I was a liberal, and then I took I went as a physics major. Then that did not work out, and then I took a semester of classes. And I took an economics class, and it was with Anthony Grilling.
Oh, he's
great. They have a great department. Chris Coyne's another professor I've had, and that's what was just like it clicked. Then I got the economic side. I already had the liberal side of social and whatnot, and so I saw myself, in college, go from being a liberal to limited classical liberal, but then eventually,
you just
keep going.
And that comes about because you just eventually develop a conviction that society contains within itself the capacity for its own self-management, and that the state really is just a parasite on this difficult process of making life orderly and beautiful. And once you see it that way, then anarchism just follows very easily. So, but it's a step. It's a mental step. Once you take it, you never quite go back.
No. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay,
and,
my pleasure.
have a good